Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Springtime Women's Wellness Series. My name is Laura Erden-Luntz, and I'm really excited to be here with you and with my mastermind buddies. So let me quickly share with you a little bit about what today is. Well, let me first share what my mastermind buddies are really quickly, because this is really fun. Young Living, 2 years ago, brought 12 people together, 12 people who were actually gold leaders at the time, together to just talk and educate each other. And there were 5 of us who had a lot of fun together and said, we need to keep working together. And here it is, 2 years later, we still meet every week and inspire each other and educate each other. And we all have different specialties, different ways that we shine, and we shine on each other. It's just a really beautiful thing. And so 4 of us are here today to present to detoxing and cleansing to you, which really are the same things as far as I know. Now, I will tell you, my mastermind buddies this is not my forte. It's funny because I actually have been a detox cleanser for 20 years. I am a yoga teacher by trade, and that kind of goes hand in hand with yoga. Actually, 30 years. I said 20, didn't I? It's 30 years. And so I'm very experienced with my own life, but it's funny because I didn't know the things I'm going to be sharing with you today. I didn't actually know a lot of, and I have learned so much from my mastermind buddies. So you guys are in for a huge treat for the rest of this event. In fact, we've been talking about it for about 2 months, and every time I come to our call, I've got a whole bevy of questions. It's like I feel like I've been a sponge, and I've just been absorbing all of this information, and it's made me more dedicated to cleansing and detoxing than ever. So what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce you to what cleansing is and why we need to cleanse, and how to know if you need to cleanse and what you need to cleanse from. So I'm just going to introduce you to all of this today, and then my buddies are going to take you through. We're going to narrow it down more and more and more and give you ideas of where you can begin with all of this. So stick with us. There's a lot of great information that's coming at you for sure. Okay, so let's talk about what cleansing is. One of the greatest analogies I have ever heard is we are like a car. And you know how a car needs to have a filter change period every so many miles because it gets all gunked up and it needs a new filter? Well, we have similar filters, and we need to get them cleaned out and cleansed out in order for us to process, to function highly, at the peak of our ability, if you will, at our highest vitality, which is always my goal, is to be able to live at my fullest vitality. And we need to clear out the gunk, basically. Now, the gunk, if you will, comes from natural metabolic waste. So we all have exhaust from living. And it's just basically, as your body processes, it casts off the stuff it doesn't need, which is why we sweat. It comes out through our skin. It comes out through excrement. And that is just a natural process, right? Now, just like a car, if you don't treat a car very well, if you're driving fast or, erratically, or you're putting in poor quality oil or poor quality gas, you're going to need to change that filter more often. Same for us. You're going to have more metabolic waste if you're eating processed foods, if you're highly stressed, if you're not taking care of yourself and giving yourself self-care. And I know a few of you are going, yep, that's me. And believe me, I'm there too. I get it. You're going to need to do cleanses more often. Your body is going to need a little bit more love. Now, the other reason that we need to cleanse, particularly, especially in this day and age, is because we have more toxins in our environment. And I just talked about that in the intro. All the toxins, especially here in the US, but it's really everywhere, that our bodies actually can't process. We don't know how to get rid of it. And we need to cleanse in order to get rid of that in our body. Now, the other thing you want to think about is, I've been talking physical cleanses, but really we need mental and emotional cleanses as well. Think of it this way. If you have that negative person in your life, or kids, even a better example, if you've been a mom, or just around kids, like you handle them really well for a certain amount of time, or you handle that negative person in your life really well with grace and ease, and then you kind of hit a wall and you're like, I can't do it, and you flip out. That's because your filter is full, right? You need to do some kind of self-care to take care of yourself, right? When you feel fresh, you're like, I'm back. I can do this. I'm back into that grace and ease. And the same is true with our minds, right? We spend so much time on our technology. We get stuck in that, or our to-do list. We get attached to our to-do list. We need breaks from those as well in order to recharge, clear that filter out. Because I find for me, when I've been really attached to my to-do list, I start adding things to it that don't really need to be done. I feel like I have to get this done. I really have to get this done. And it takes my husband, bless his heart, he is my filter, to say, do you really have to do that today? For me to think, to step back and go, maybe I don't really need to do that today. But my filter is full. And so I wasn't able to do that on my own. And when we take breaks, it helps us with that. So here's the thing. Our body, besides the stuff that our body can't detox, our body, like toxins that the body is unable to detox itself, we do have a natural detoxification in the body. I mean, I have people who say, well, isn't the body naturally do that? I mean, our liver is our detox organ, and you just have to realize that just like anything, it can become stagnant. Just like the car can become stagnant, your body can become stagnant in its filtration system. And that's what a cleanse will do. It will free all of that up. So what's interesting is historically, detoxification happened more naturally, right? Back in the day, if you will, winter was a time of famine. They didn't have as much food available. And that was a time when the body would naturally detoxify. Now, another thing that occurred back in the day, if you will, that helped support natural detoxification is fruits and vegetables weren't available all year round. All foods weren't available all year round. So one of the things that can cause stagnant energy in our body is eating the very same things every single day. And in fact, you may have experienced at some point in your life getting sensitive to a food. I know I have. That I've eaten a lot. All of a sudden, I ate eggs every day for breakfast. And all of a sudden, I can't eat them anymore. Gives me eczema or gives me a stomach ache or something. And that's because the body needs to detox from it. And back in the day, they had seasonal fruit and vegetables. They had meat after the hunt, and then they didn't. So you didn't eat things every single day, all day long. And the other thing that makes the body more stagnant is our heavy diets. So you're eating more food than your body necessarily needs, and foods that are maybe fried or processed in a way that makes the body stagnant. And also our lack of movement. So we tend to be a little bit more sedentary. I know not everyone is, but our society in general is more sedentary. And finally, we have a steady toxic diet. So so often people, when I start teaching about toxins, they say, well, it's just a little bit. I just have a little bit in my sunscreen, or I just have a little bit in my skincare. And the body can theoretically handle a little bit. But keep in mind, first of all, those little bits add up, and then the body becomes stagnant. And also, I just lost my train of thought. It wasn't you. It's okay. I can't remember what I was going to say, but it's about the toxins, right? So those little bits add up over time, and it makes the body have a harder and harder time process. But the other thing is, I know what I was going to say, is those toxins, right? They're replacing good, nutritious things that your body can feed off of. So again, if we go back to the car analogy, it's like putting poor quality oil into your car. If you spent the money on a Ferrari, would you put in regular gas? No. You would say, I'm going to put in premium fuel. The same is for us, right? Our bodies are worth more than a Ferrari. Okay, wrap your head around that. What are you putting in it? Now, what's interesting is people are often more aware of organic foods. I know this is where I started, right? Getting as much organic foods because it's going inside my body. Here's the thing. What you put on your skin is actually more dangerous than what you put in your body. So I want you to wrap your head around that and think about the toxins that you have in your home. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen with y'all, which is always a little dicey. So Melissa, make sure I'm sharing the right screen, if you will. And you just hop on, and Melissa, or text me, or someone can leave me a message if I'm doing the wrong screen, because I have been known to do that. I want to share with you, here we go, symptoms of a bogged down body. Now, here's the thing. Here are just a few symptoms. I have another screen too to share with you. In her book, Inner Transformations Using Essential Oils, y'all, this book, if you are interested in really cleansing, this book, get this book. It's phenomenal. And it takes you through a lot of what we're talking about today, the level of importance, where you begin, because if you get a little overwhelmed is where you begin. But she has over 100 symptoms in here that you can even rate on a scale of 1 to 3 as to how often it happens, and it will help you figure out if you need to cleanse. Now, I was actually going to type this up for us, for you to go through, but the truth is, we all need to cleanse. We all do. Everybody does it, whether it's mental, physical, well, we all need them all, right? And we need to take care of ourselves that way. But here are some of the biggest ones: extreme fatigue, autoimmune issues, such as rashes, soreness in joints, muscles, skin issues. As I'm scratching, I've got eczema on my face, so forgive me, but there it is, right? Brain fog, headaches, harder time losing weight. Oh my word, if I had a dime for every time people said, I'm really struggling with losing weight, myself included. Issues with sleep, and that's whether or not you have a hard time falling asleep, staying asleep, waking up, feeling well rested. All of that is a bogged down body. Craving sugar, digestive issues, allergies outside of the season, so it's not hay fever season necessarily, etc. Stress, higher levels of body odor, hormone imbalances, right, all of us, cold sores. That's just to name a few. Again, she's got over 100, I think 113 symptoms in here. Regardless of what your challenge is, you need to realize that cleansing will help your body process what it's supposed to do. Like, our body is naturally inclined toward health. And what we're talking about here is these are the things that slow down the body so it can't do what it naturally does. Now, if you are currently in some sort of disease state, it doesn't mean you want to jump in and do a big cleanse. And Sue and Tricia will be talking about that a little bit later. You need to be really smart about it and go slowly. And actually, one of the things we're going to talk about is doing gentle cleanses, because I will tell you, back in the day, 30 years ago, as you know, a new yogi, I was doing some pretty dramatic cleanses and causing a lot of physical discomfort, and that's just not necessary. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the levels of cleansing and what you can do. I'm just going to briefly go through these just to get you thinking. Now, again, remember we were talking about there's mental, emotional, and physical levels. Mental, you might want to think about doing a technology cleanse, taking a weekend off of your phone. I find this really hard because my job is my phone. But what I try and do, and I can't have it off if any of my chicks, as my mom calls them, my kiddos are outside of the house, or my husband. But if all of us are home, I will put my phone in the drawer for an evening. And it's amazing how hard that is. But periodically do it. And the other thing is actually turning my computer off, because I usually have it on. But if I turn it off, it's easier for me to not go back to it. Maybe taking a break from your to-do list. Think about that one. Emotional cleanses. You need to cleanse from toxic people. So we all have toxic people in our life. Those people that really are negative, or they push our buttons, or whatever it is. And you've got to filter for that. And it only lasts so long. So taking a break from toxic people is really important. And paying attention to yourself and how you feel. Negative emotions. Negative emotions are actually stored in our liver. And we have we have a feelings kit in Young Living that is incredibly powerful for releasing negative emotions. Oh my gosh, it's incredibly powerful. I actually have 2 of those kits because they're so amazing. I use them with people and myself all the time. And we also have the aroma freedom technique. And I think someone's going to talk about that a little bit later. But if they don't, write it down, because you can Google it. There's some great information out there. Those of you on my team, we're going to be doing the feelings kit in April, and probably the aroma freedom technique too, if there's interest. Physical cleanses. This is just a few of the things, and this is probably what you thought we were going to focus on in this series, because this is usually what people think about, and this is what we'll be talking about more in the next presentations. But I did want to point out that we need to do mental and emotional cleanses too. But mold, parasites, candida, heavy metals, EMFs, those are electromagnetic fields or electromagnetic radiation, which is the same thing, but they're listed different ways. At different times. These are all things that we need to get out of our body in an intentional way. They don't just get out of our body. So let's look at each one super briefly, just because I want you to have a moment to really look at it and think, is this something that I need to think about? So first, mold. So mold is often found in older houses, and it says think lead paint, meaning like a house that would have lead paint may have mold. But it also can just be in the air. So it's often, behind the walls. And this kind of thing really can make you sick. I actually had a girlfriend who had severe mold poisoning, and she's really worked on getting it out of her body. But you can see those are the main symptoms: coughing, wheezing, stuffy or runny nose, red eyes, itchy skin, eyes, throat, nosebleed, all of these things. Itchy throat, nosebleed can be a sign of mold poisoning. Parasites. This is actually way more common than you know, and Sue will probably cover this a lot. She loves parasites, loves to talk parasites, I should say. But this is more common than you realize, and you can get it from your pets, you can get them from foods, and who knows, we all have them. It's just whether or not they are taking over your body. You don't want them out of balance, okay? This is something I've had to work on a lot. My eczema, I think, is from parasites. So I've been working on cleansing my own body from this. But isn't this interesting? If you look through, apathy can be come from parasites. I want you to just look at some of these things. It's really interesting. Grinding your teeth while sleeping. Isn't that interesting? Candida. This is pretty common. You've probably heard of this one. Comes from antibiotics or birth control pills, oral corticosteroids, which come in asthma inhalers, cancer treatments, diabetes. And the symptoms are sweet tooth. I'm just pointing out the things you would never think would come from something. You just think it's my own weakness, right? It actually is a body imbalance. Craving salt is a body imbalance, although I'm not sure where it is. But think of it that way. Cravings in general is usually a body imbalance. Bad breath, white coating on tongue. So that's in the morning, usually. But if you stick out your tongue, you'll see a white coating. Heavy metals. So heavy metals, most of us have them, especially those of us who are a little older. I had mercury fillings, the old amalgam fillings. Had them removed, but I still have mercury in my body. I haven't gotten to that place. I am cleansing my body in the order I need to. And if I tried to cleanse out the mercury now, my body would just go into shock. It would just I'd feel sick. So I haven't done it yet, but it's still in my system. You need to do a special cleanse to get rid of mercury. And headache, weakness, and tiredness, achy joint, muscles, constipation, all of these things can come from heavy metals. Interesting, huh? All right, EMS, EMRs. So these are just getting worse, okay? 5G is actually super strong and can definitely make a huge difference on all of us. So be really careful. All the cell phone towers, all the wiring, all of these things are affecting us. And we will talk about getting cleansed from that too later. Okay, environmental cleanse. This is one of the first things I recommend people start with. Getting rid of the toxins in your home and limiting your EMRs. So really quickly, getting rid of the toxins in your home, use Young Living. It's really that simple. They are so, when you're on Essential Rewards, when you're diluting them the proper way, the way that you can, they can actually be less expensive than regular conventional. It just makes sense. Here's the thing. If you're doing cleanses, but you're living in toxins, you're not really doing a whole lot of good, okay? You need to get rid of the toxins and then cleanse. It helps doing a cleanse with toxins, but just get rid of the toxins. It just go slowly, take your time, and get rid of them. Electromagnetic radiation, how to limit it? Turn off your Wi-Fi at night. Turn off your cell phone. Turn off the cell phones, you know, the cell service. Especially don't have it next to your bed at night. Lots of things you can do. We actually unplug appliances when we're not using them to limit the electromagnetic radiation. You can Google this, so there's lots of information out there on how you can do that. All right. The two things I want you to take away is realizing we all need to cleanse periodically. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It doesn't mean you're sick. You don't have to be sick for it. We all need to cleanse periodically. And step one is get the toxins out of your home. All right, y'all. I am going to stop the recording. Hang on.